the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. That's right, brothers and sisters, the Hebrew and Bible Academy, you are invited. I'm Elder Ricard of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly Patreon update. Yeah, I'm getting dinged all over the place. Right on time, right? It seems as if these trackers go off at the most inopportune time, but I'm going to put it over here, right? But anyway, I'm Elder Ricard, the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly Patreon update, okay? And again, yes, Hebrew and Bible Academy, you are invited. We're going into week 11 coming soon. And we tend to end the academy with the crescendo, right? I'm going to tell you right now, this week we'll be going into a new breakdown in Daniel concerning the end times. You don't want to miss that. The 4 beasts of Daniel updated. We're going to also go into what? The persecution on God's people at the very end, which was also prophesied out of the book of Daniel this week. And what we're trying to do is get the guests together for week 12 roundtable discussion. So still, we're working on the guests there. So we hope to end this on a high note and trying to bring some resolve when it comes to this battle between man and woman, okay, in general, okay? So if this interests you, don't worry about it. We're going into to the end of the academy, but we are opening enrollments for the next academy, all right? 12 out of this world biblical lessons, and we'll have some new lessons added, and we'll also have a roundtable discussion in our next academy. So if you're interested, go to historytimes.org. And that's right, I'm representing right now Passover 2024. I can't wait in a few weeks. Thousands upon thousands of God's people, the children of Israel and Gentiles alike, converging on North Carolina. It's going to be, oh my goodness, what an event. We're going to get all the leaders together and make sure we have dinner with the family a day beforehand. Before the Sabbath come in Friday for the Passover, before the Friday night comes in, we have our vending where brothers and sisters bring all of their particular gifts and merchandise, whatever that is, to share amongst the nation together. And this is how we get an opportunity to patronize one another and to actually support one another in our gifts. Who knows, out of all these things that we actually interact with and trade, whether or not these same people will be useful when it breaks down. Okay, so this is a way of networking, getting to know who can do what. And that's a blessing that we can actually do business amongst ourselves to help the nation. All praises be to the Most High, leading into the Friday night communion. So we have the vending during the day before the Sabbath comes in. We have the communion at night. And then, that's right, music, festivities, and it's going to be a grand Passover. All praises due to the Most High. thousands upon thousands will converge on North Kakalaki. Right? So it's going to be a great time. And we'd have a concert and all that in the midst of it, praising the Most High. And again, this coming, that Sabbath, we commune and remember why we are here. The Passover, when Christ gave his blood for the nation. And it's going to be great, and I can't wait for that moment. And also, you're going to hear new announcements coming, going out there for you brothers and sisters. We're going to have, and it's going to be something else, folks. In Atlanta this coming June, we're going to have our first annual Gathering of Christ Church Truth Concert. That's going to be in Atlanta this June. Okay. The second week in June, we'll be there in Atlanta. You'll be hearing much about this. All the great artists who praise the Most High and who are gifted in their own right. That's right. This coming June, we're going to have our first annual Gathering of Christ Church concert. And through this, we're going to be delivering end time prophecy in intervals between artists. So you don't want to miss that. Okay, so you'll be hearing that announcement. Hey, we're going to hit the ground running this year. And we understand that music is a great vehicle, right? A universal language that allow us to actually not just praise the Most High in song, but to also deliver the messages concerning what's going on in the earth today in preparation to help our people. Folks, there's so much going on right now, and I'm about to bring in my brother in a moment, but I want to say I'd like to thank all the sisters who called in. Okay. Someone asked, Shalom, Elder, I paid my second installment yesterday. Does that count for the next academy? No, the second installment counts for this academy. All right. But if you have any issues or something going on, I'm not the administrator here. The only thing what happens is the camera comes on and I get the books in front of me and I teach. So if you're asking me about some enrollments and installments and how these things, that's above my hat. Okay. That's above my metri. Let me put it out that way. That's the administration. So go into your email, and what you would need to do is there's a contact, right? That we give you in your welcome packet in the academy. So if you have any academy questions, enrollment questions, that's out of my metri grade. Okay. So use that email and they'll take that out. They'll fix that on that side. Okay. I wanted to say thank you for my sisters out there. My sisters out there who responded and giving us some insight to how we can protect our sisters who are getting scammed and coerced into going into Africa. Many people are coming up unreported, especially our sisters. But one thing in particular I would like to put a foot in, if I can. It seems as if we're trying to do something to protect our sisters. I always receive some email, or I'll receive a comment where someone is saying, well, brothers like the Passport brothers are going into areas and getting unalived too. Okay. What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? If we have a lesson trying to protect our sisters from going over into Africa and coming up missing, the last thing I'm going to do is do a tit for tat and say, well, somebody else is doing it also. Okay, that's a very immature way of answering when we're of actually corresponding when we're trying to help our sisters who are being coerced into losing their lives. And our people have to get off this thing where he's doing it too. Okay. The broadcast wasn't about Passport brothers going into another country, getting unalived. Again, they are men. Okay. Men have a level of strength to protect themselves above the weaker vessel. Okay. Women cannot do what men do. And we're trying to emphasize that and sort of protect these women who are going into these places, not realizing the threat. I don't care what they tell you on TV, okay? Putting a man in a full Nelson where your girl Queen Latifah is on TV flipping a guy around and saying halt. That's not real life, okay? And people are starting to believe this feminist rhetoric that they're portraying on TV. And that's a whole nother conversation I'm going to have in the future, because they're actually pumping women up into handling things that they weren't made to handle. And they're doing a psych job on our women. And at the end of it, it's going to destroy our women. So again, I don't want to hear nothing about, well, what about what the men are doing, when I'm talking about our sisters getting killed in other countries. Okay? Give me a break. All right? Now, I digress. Today we'll be going into, in a couple of moments, we'll be going into the migrants' engineered chaos that I'm going to talk about briefly before segueing over into Patreon with our Patreon updates. Okay? Now, all right? I'm going to be going into that in a moment, but before I do that, I have a guest with me. Yes. And folks, when I say migrants, it's an engineered chaos. It's exactly that. And I told you what was going to happen. They first came up with this illegal stuff, these illegals, renaming it migrant crisis and all this other stuff. But really, it's to bring in the chaos as well as the new work class, knowing that it's going to cause serious infighting within the neighborhoods. And it's exactly what they've been planning since the beginning of the cold, the flu. Okay? And I'm going to be talking about that on the other side, right? But again, we're going to be talking about this because all the housing, schools, institutions are now, believe it or not, have been given to them without telling our people. The projects, the low income housing, all of that will go to them because that's the new voting block. Now that our people have begun to wake up to the deception that comes with the Democrat Party. So what they're doing is giving all of the resources to the illegals. And I'm going to be talking about that on the other side. When it comes to migrant, it's an engineered chaos that they're letting loose in our neighborhoods. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment before segueing. And I told y'all during the flu, when they had everybody shut down and people were believing the news with their nonsense, okay? I told you all that get ready because no sooner as this end, they're going to come with something else. Second Baruch broke it all the way down. One crisis after the next. And what are they doing? They're picking people off in the wake, in the cloud of all this confusion. This engineered chaos they have created. But all in all, we're going to point out who are the they. Because I have what? I have a last conversation of a man who stated what their plans were since 2019, who's no longer with us. When it comes to what they're doing, because so many people now are identifying the spirit of Zionism that could disrupt societies. Too many people are figuring out about what they would call the ideology of Zionism and how that can have a negative effect on all of our lives. Not to say all Jewish people have anything to do with this. We're talking about the ideology in itself. Well, we have a man with his last testament. His last words will tell you what's really going on in this earth, what was being planned, and what to look forward to next. And I will show that on our Patreon broadcast today. So please be a part of that. Patreon.com/agathering144. Now, on top of that, folks, let me make it clear, right? Let me look at my tracker real quick that they call phones. All right. Look at my tracker here. Yeah. It says here that today On this side, we'll be highlighting the migrant engineer chaos before I transition. And on Patreon, we're going to be talking about the flu engineered chaos. And if you want to know what I mean by flu, you all know the thing that just came up and just took so many people, then disappeared. Well, you're going to need to be on Patreon to hear the news we have on that. But that concludes my update. But before I go into the migrant crisis, I need to now talk about, brothers and sisters, echoes of the Ramapo. Echoes of the Ramapo. We were talking about how Ford and the other corporations associated with that were poisoning the tribe of Gad in New Jersey. I had a guest come on, an old-time friend of mine, Lamont Fountain, who was responsible for this great production that happened in Philadelphia that's on Paramount TV right now, but Paramount Plus, but also that he, with his life's work, he's trying to expose this particular corporate poisoning and destruction of our people that's been swept under the rugs. And of course, again, as you can see here, let me put it here, I spearheaded this on our very own broadcast here, A Gathering 144. I brought him on as a guest, and we started what? We started a crowdfunding for this particular pilot that we will actually view together today, okay? All right. And right now, and I thank you all for your contributions. I mean, we're far away from the goal, but to be blessed with $3,355 in order to make this thing a reality right now is still a blessing. And I would like to say thank you for what? For contributing to this, but we have a long way to go to make Echoes of the Ramapo a reality. Okay? Please, if you can contribute to this, please help us make this particular, brothers and sisters, make this particular production a reality. Okay? What I'm going to do before pull it in, the man in charge of making this production a reality, exposing the corporate companies who've been poisoning our people. Right? Before I pull them in, I want to put the link again in the chat. So you can share this link with others you know to help be a part of this experience, because we're going to use productions like this to shine a light on many negatives the corporate world have been covering up when it comes to secretly destroying our people. Okay? And right? So I want to make it clear. Brothers and sisters, that there's other things going on. What are they putting in the waters? What about the fluoridated water? What can we do to get this out of our water? And what type of research can we do to understand whether or not having fluoride in our public water, is actually contributing to a lot of our sicknesses, allegedly, that's out there. Many types of different documentaries I would like to shine a light on, but we can't do anything unless we get off the ground with this one first, right? Someone has a question. Someone asked, Elder, I have a question. And that is a good question before I bring in Lamont, right? Thank you for the question. Who do we vote for seeing that both sides is crooked? Good answer. You vote for who votes for you, right? In a nutshell, right? Before we left Egypt, all of the people got together and gave us what was needed, and that initiative came from the Pharaoh, right? So we need the Pharaoh's initiative, right? Doesn't matter whether or not you Democrat or Republican. Unless they're willing to give cash reparations, Reparations in the form of cash payments to the descendants of slaves who are from the tribe of Judah, they can kick rocks. And it doesn't matter whether or not they're Democrat or Republican. No one is going to side with Trump because he isn't Biden. They did that trick the last time. Most people didn't vote for Biden. More so, their vote was against Trump. So they're not going to flip-flop back and forth. Well, I'm not Biden, so I'm going Trump. Nah. The Asians got a hate crime bill. They get money that belong to our people through civil rights. The migrants get money. Israel get money. The Palestinians get money. The Ukrainians get money. So you vote for who vote for you. It doesn't matter either side. If Trump says that he's going to give our people reparations, then you can consider what he have to say. Okay? Reparations in the form of cash payments. That's right. Not giving money to HBCUs. Okay? None of that. Okay? No HBCU money. No college debt relief. No unalivened children as some type of caveat that they call reproductive health care. We don't care about none of that. We don't need education. You give our people money like you give Israel, and we'll pay for our own education. So that's the answer to that. If he's not coming with anything, he's in this, which is Trump, he's in the same boat with Biden. Period. Now, let me bring in my brother from the same mother, Lamont Fountain.
Shalom.
Let me bring you in, my brother. Let me bring you in. How you doing, sir?
Shalom. How you doing?
I'm blessed by the Almighty. And and of course, I thank you for coming on today, my brother. I appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
And if you can, please, brother, give us an update of where we are and what you would like to say to our audience today when it comes to echoes of the Ramapo. What advancements have been made since the last time I've had you on our broadcast?
So we, as you said, we have about $3,300 that has come in. And as far as where we are in the project, we have a script for episode 1, the pilot. And we have an outline for 9 episodes. So basically an entire first season we have outlined and a plan for where the next season goes. So these and I wanted to say, I really appreciate you doing this, Elder Rakah, and I appreciate what everybody has given so far. A project like this will never get made by the mainstream. A project like this is even hard to get made with investors, because investors like to see a fast ROI, return on investment.
Yeah.
So something like this, a series is risky to them. They would consider it risky. So, but having a finished pilot, it really puts this way above, and the quality that it's going to be done with is going to be good enough to where it's going to be a no-brainer. So, like I said, I really appreciate the efforts of everybody trying to get this done. This is a really important story, and it deals with how the corporations have basically knowingly dumped harsh chemicals on the land of the Ramapo Indians, and knowing exactly what would be the outcome. And it was really spiteful, and it was negligence also. But at the end of the day, it was, they wanted that land and they couldn't get it. So that was their resolution.
Man.
And so it's so, and the evidence is there. It's so obvious that the state has gotten involved, and the state is actually suing Ford. The state of New Jersey is suing Ford, and with the Ramapo people. So, and there's been a lot of help. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the Lewis Pugh Foundation, but the Lewis Pugh Foundation is one of the, if not the biggest, environmental funds in the world. And Lewis Pugh is he's an English man that he basically, a lot of people might have heard of him. He swims the oceans to raise awareness on pollution, and he swims the rivers of the world. He actually swam the Hudson River, which everybody told him he was crazy for even attempting it,
Okay.
because the Hudson is so polluted. They was like, you're gonna kill yourself. So he swam the Hudson, and during his swim, they had a ceremony, and he met with the chief, and he pledged his support, and they pledged their support for each other, and raising awareness, because these problems have leached into the water, into the reservoirs, and it can affect a lot more people. But raising awareness to this, the everybody listens when the people stand up and let their voice be heard. And this is a voice that's not been heard yet. So I think, the idea is that, there's several documentaries out about this. And as I said before, the information is out there, but I believe we need to see the impact on a personal level, with actors in a dramatic series. You can actually see these stories get played out in the lives that it has affected for decades.
Something
and
else.
up to this day. Yeah.
Well, let's do this together, if you will, Manigun, Lamont. Let's, because you told us that you was going to put something together. That I want to show brothers and sisters that the reality of when you say you're going to do something, it happens, right? Right? We said, well, listen, we're going to need a pilot. Well, y'all started contributing to this particular crowdfund, and we haven't even scratched the surface. We're here at what? We're here at $3,355 with a $100,000 goal to make this series a reality, right? But I said, well, listen, we're going to need, and I said this behind, y'all don't know this, I talked with them behind the scenes and said, well, listen, you're going to have to produce something so people can understand what they are contributing to. So in no time, in less than a week, well, about a week, he came with a complete pilot. And I would like to show this pilot with all of us viewing this at once, to show you that one thing about the people that I deal with, right? When they say they're going to do something, it gets done. or I wouldn't put my reputation on the line with it, right? You'll never hear me saying here, send the shyster Umar Johnson a red cent, right? For his school, his non-existent school, right? But all in all, let's show you what happens when people do what? You got it. Not just talk the talk, but walk the walk. Here it is.
And that brings me to 1956, where Henry Ford's family created the world's largest automobile manufacturing plant in Mahwah, New Jersey. And then, prior to 1964, the Ford Motor Corporation bought 900 acres of land in Ringwood, New Jersey. The people who were living upon that land were the Turtle Clans, the core area of our people. What they wanted to do was to remove 1,100 souls from there so they could build a self-contained executive community. The town of Ringwood would have realized probably $1 million a year back in the 1960s in tax revenue. Public outcry, again, well, where are you going to put all these people? There was even a reference, well, they can buy them. Yeah, okay. We're paying $5 or $15 a month in rent, and you think we're going to buy a $50,000 home? Yeah, it wasn't even possible. So public outcry again stops that from moving forward, and then Ford found themselves as the landlords of our people. In 1964, within a couple of months, so pretty much immediately, after losing the right to do that, Ford began to dump their toxic waste into the mines, onto the land in which we hunted, in the streams and brooks where the native trout were. on the land where we gathered the fruit and the wild medicinals and the wild vegetables.
Ford would come in all hours of the day. They'd just come in here and they'd dump in the mines. They'd dump it all over.
There was a forest there, there was a river there. There were beavers in there. The beavers were sick, the deer was in there. If you go there now, it looks like a big airplane crash.
Our attorney that we had at the time said it was as if they flew a helicopter and just dumped sludge all over the community. In the yards, in the mines.
Knowing, right, that we lived off the land, right? Knowing that we got our water from the spring. Knowing that, we needed those animals, to hunt or to fish.
Over the years, as the people lived here, they started getting sick. Some people were getting rashes. Other people who got cancer died.
They knew in 1956, when they created the Ford plant, DuPont, who created the paint for Ford, right, wrote in this little book that even exists today, right? And in that little book was all the chemicals for the paint. And inside that little book with all the chemicals that listed the paint also said this causes cancer, this causes cancer, this causes cancer, this causes this. They knew prior to the dumping.
And so many cancer, Vivian Milligan called it Cancer Row. There was methane gas coming out for these poor people that live there.
At certain points in time, there were funerals every single day of the week, Monday through Sunday. People being born in the community, growing up, having health ailments. How can you have a community with 1,100 people in it that has gone through what they have gone through, right? Watching 10-year-old Colin die of 2 rare cancers and blind in his uncle's arms. To across the street from that house was my aunt, and we watched her daughter die of cancer at 30 years old and leave 3 kids behind, one of them being 1 year old, and then a year later her mother dies, and across the street a 30-year-old boy who was born with heart defect dies at 30, and then one of the twins of our uncles that lives at the top of the street dies of cancer. Every single person on that one road, there's been multiple deaths and multiple types of cancer, and yet, there's nothing of any significance here. How does any human being live through that? The only way you could live through that is if you lived through it before, right? And it's because we have. It's because we are who we are.
Oh my goodness.
Chief, I said, do you want to just inform people about what's going on? You just want to inform people, or do you want to inspire people to make a change and to, he said, I want to inspire people to make a change. I told him I think this would be better as a dramatic series. Something with actors, something you could see the what the people go through on a daily basis, and you can get into the story more so than just getting the information, because the information is out there.
Echoes of the Rampo aims to bring this vital story to the screen, to showcase the spirit of the Turtle Clan, their struggles, and their undying hope. We need your support to bring this remarkable tale to life. Join us in creating not just a series, but a movement. Your contribution can turn this vision into reality. Be a part of this extraordinary journey. Support Echoes of the Rampo, the Turtle Clan story, and let's make history together.
I'll tell you this, brothers and sisters. What a resilient people the children of Israel are. Amen. Hey.
Which video did you play? Part 2 or part 1?
I played part 2.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I wanted to do.
Oh my! I played part 2. I mean, that thing is tear jerking. And brother, what a great job because you actually were able to bring the emotions, the true emotions that are needed, to the forefront, even within a pilot. I mean, can you imagine what a complete series, a whole 7 separate episodes of a series would do? It'll do so much into driving the attention that's needed for this. So, brother, thank you for this, and we're going to do everything we can to make this a reality for you. Do you have any last words as far as this is concerned? Because we're gonna get up on this.
Yeah, this is not actually the pilot. This is a promo video to help tell the story. But the once we do the pilot, once we get all the funds and we actually get the actors together and do the pilot, and it's going to be 10 times more engaging. And I also wanted to say that we're gonna do updates on the page, and we're gonna do some perks for people that donate certain levels. They're going to be certain levels of perks, like you can be listed in the credits. You can, depending on we're working that out now.
Yeah.
But people can get associate producer credits. We're going to have a tier that if you donate a certain amount, or if you support a certain monetary amount, you can actually come on set and spend a day on set.
Okay.
We'll have another one where, you get VIP tickets to the premiere. Another one is
well, I'm going to be there, right? I'm going to be at the premiere, but go ahead.
Absolutely.
But go on.
You'll be able to one of them is you're going to be able to have lunch with the cast and crew, stuff like that.
Okay. All right.
We're putting that together now.
Okay.
But
well,
even if it's $1 or $5, we appreciate every single penny, because, it helps us reach our goal.
Well, thank you, my brother. And once you get those tiers together, we'll come back together and bring it on to show brothers and sisters what perks they can have in actually contributing towards this, so that we can get to this, the pilot, sooner than later. Okay.
Absolutely. And also, real quick, we're going to start to do podcasts. And we're going to be talking to different members of the Ramapo and different people that's involved in the story.
Okay.
Give updates, and we'll put the updates on the GoFundMe page. And of course, I'll update you.
Okay. Well, once the podcast begin, because I'm sure that will drive the funding to the next level, because, it's out of sight, out of mind. Unless you're letting people understand what's going on a regular basis, they won't know where the campaign is and all that. So that's a great idea with the podcast. And once you start doing that, let me know so that we can drive some traffic there, and I'll pop up over there myself to make sure we get this done sooner than later.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. So
everybody.
Well, thank you again. As you can see, thank you, Elder Dell, for putting the GoFundMe on the page. And brothers and sisters, support what you can, do what you can, and whatever, no matter how small or large, it's all appreciated, so that we can make this particular production a reality. With that, my brother, I'm gonna call you later. Great work.
Thank you. Man. Thanks to everybody.
All right, bless you.
All right.
Okay, that's my brother from the same mother, and believe it or not, this brother is high level when it comes to the movie side of things. So I'm glad he's on our side, because I believe that this is the beginning of something great when it comes to using our gifts to shine a light on the negatives and the evils that have been done to us in the dark. And I thank the Most High for this platform. You people, all my brothers and sisters, and the Gathering of Christ Church, to actually be here, to have a voice to help our people. It's more to it than just teaching the word. It's also putting what we learn into real-time action to actually help the people who are from the lost tribes of Israel. Okay? So now, real quick, now we're segueing over. Okay? Now we're segueing over now into our title for today, right? What are we talking about? What are we talking about in particular? Well, let me pull it up here. Fair use. The fact that I said a long time ago that this thing with the migrant crisis isn't what most people think it is. Okay? You have to understand what a mercenary invasion looks like under the guise of helping people. Okay? And then you have now the Chicago mayor and the New York mayor finessing people, claiming that we're slashing the migrant budget, and when you look at what they're slashing, it's only 10%. How is that a play on words? We're slashing the money we're giving them. No, there shouldn't be no money there from the beginning. So now that's a slick way into having people accept these people getting money who shouldn't have money. At the same time, they're cutting everything that belongs to our people in the United States who are suffering in these same communities. So you have to watch their political talk when they say, oh, we're slashing the money. Slashing what money? There shouldn't be any money towards this. So no, people don't want to hear this. And what's going on? Not allegedly, but more people are dying in these shelters. What type of people are they about to release onto our communities this summer? And I told people it's going to be total mayhem in our communities because these aren't just regular people who are getting vetted. Think about taking the worst of any people in a society in number and destabilizing communities in another country and giving them a different legal system to be able to what? To be able to obfuscate or even go over the same laws that we are entitled to. They can cause an issue and just go into another asylum state to only cause more issues. They can go into another asylum city. They could just get on a bus and go into another city after causing chaos here. And now people are dying. Right? So now, fair use, I want to show a little bit of this real quick. Right? And then we're going to talk about this.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. I'm Jeanette Francine. Our next story takes us out to New York City as we're being told they are in the midst of a migrant crisis. This as asylum seekers are making their way to the Big Apple in record.
Now, they talking about asylum seekers. Do these people look like they're running from some war country or something? Totally healthy. What are you talking about, asylum seekers? See, they're using this to do a play on the laws that are on the books to make us believe that, okay, this is to help people. But really, it's to destabilize the community and to replace those who are in the community that the Democrat Party and others have no more use for. This is total betrayal.
Numbers. Joining us live to further
Fair
explain,
use.
it's Fox 5 New York's Lisa Evers. Lisa, good morning. Thank you so much for.
And imagine this, brothers and sisters, not that I would ever advise any of our brothers and sisters to operate outside of the law. Okay? The Bible tells us we must follow the law. But there's clear rules for black men in particular when it comes to being engaged by police enforcement. All right? I was taught at a young age, real quick, son, I'm about to teach you how to drive a car. All right? I'm like, yeah, thanks, Dad. I'm going to get me a little car, whatever the case is. I'm going to save my money and I'm going to see if I can get me a car. And then he says, son, but there's something I need to tell you. Okay? And this was before Boys in the Hood and all these other things that became well known concerning our, I would say, our threatening relationship with police. which means I was being taught that going on this road may one day mean my life. Okay? If I act out in the midst of police enforcement. I was taught by my father, son, if you ever get pulled over by a police, you put 2 hands on the steering wheel. Don't touch anything and allow that police officer to get your registration and license himself. Roll down the window. Do not resist and agree with everything this police officer is ordering. Do you understand this? Because me teaching you how to drive is one thing. Knowing what you will incur on the road with police is another. And I want to make sure that I don't lose my sons. Right? So we were taught from a young age that if a police engage you, automatically agree, do not give them any mouth, put your hands on the steering wheel and roll away with your life. A disagreement with the police isn't worth it, right? Now imagine how our people in the community understand this, especially after George Floyd and all these things that were promoted, that were put out since then, right? Sandra Bland and all these others. And imagine that the migrants are being taught something different, being told something different, that they can actually stomp out a police. They put hands and feet on a police officer and walked out of court above the law. Now think about this. I couldn't imagine even thinking that that was a possibility to harm a police and come out with my life. So what are they being told concerning the law opposed to what we're taught? And think about what happens when people know that they can actually destroy police officers and not serve 1 day in jail. Well, listen to this, folks. Think about their interactions with us if they can get away with that. Think about that for a moment. What are they being told they're able to get away with? Because if you can't, listen, if our people, if I know a brother, if he were to put his hands and foot on a cop, you can expect him to be put down like a dog right there. No questions asked. You can expect that. So there's some level of laws and leniency when it comes to those laws for these people intentionally. These are the mercenaries they need to totally destabilize and to destroy what's left of our people who made it through the flu. I'm going to tell you this right now. Orchestrated. This is orchestrated. Fair use.
For being here.
Good morning, Janae. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. So this term migrant crisis is ever developing. We know that there have been reports of
this migrant crisis is ever developing. What do you mean ever developing? Since Biden was voted in, he put money behind that and said he was going to open up the border. And then talked about voter rights, and we thought that it would have something to do with our people who never had a problem voting, right? Barack Obama was an example of our people voting when we get the opportunity or when we believe in a politician, right? But they were talking about lenient voter rights for the new illegals they was going to let in the country so that they can replace us, folks. This is all engineered. Okay? This is for their corporate new workforce to replace those that used to work in America. Okay? so that they can have anchor babies to replace us. This is what it's about, an invasion.
Crime increasing in that area from those asylum seekers. Break this down for us, Lisa. How did we get to this point?
Now, why would they allow criminality to fester in these areas? Right? Why? To destabilize the people who live there. Only through their Hegelian dialectic to come around and say, we need to be tough on crime. I'm going to show you how they're going to play this on either side, folks. Because now Trump is the good guy who's going to come in and say, it's time to close the borders and it's time to get tough on crime. Since Biden, I've inherited an issue with the criminality he let loose in our communities. Right? So now he has a reason to use what? Military and others are coming to our neighborhoods to go against these illegals. But guess what? You think these people who are coming to our neighborhoods to stop crime will stop at the illegals? Or will it be using them as proxy to police us? I'm telling you right now how it's all going to go down. They need this criminality. They need them there so to what? So to have a reason for a crisis budget. With every crisis comes money to fix it. See? So if it's a cold, if it's COVID, if it's this or if it's that, it's a crisis. So crisis money is thrown at it. And the gatekeepers are now taking money out of these so-called crises, benefiting financially from it, and at the same time destabilizing the country, destabilizing where we live. It's all intentional, and it's prophetic according to the Bible. This is what a real purge looks like.
Well, I think one of the things, Janae, is that in the beginning of the migrants coming into New York City, there were a lot of families.
And just a sidebar, we need to do something about this makeup that's going down within this world. Just a sidebar. Okay? All due respect with people struggling with their sexuality and all that. When I was growing up, someone who was made up like this was usually a person who was struggling between sexes. A man overdoing it to try to look like a girl is when I was growing up. You would understand, there was a clear distinction between a man who was overdoing it when it comes to makeup to try to look like a woman and a woman. Right? So when I see makeup like this, it's disturbing because I understand it's allowing the others to actually play the middle to deceive other people. Women don't need all of this. They're already the prettier of the two. Okay? Men aren't the pretty ones. The women are. So women need to stop overdoing this makeup because those that deal with the transsexual types of scenarios are now able to hide themselves in society using women. Okay? When I see this, it is a shame that I got to look at women now and try to ask, and then I have to answer the question within myself. What exactly am I looking at or listening to here? It's a shame we're living in a society where now I have to go off of the story and on to who is this presenting the story. Yet I digress. Women, y'all don't need to overdo it. Men had to overdo it because they were trying to look like you. Lord have mercy.
There were a lot of mothers and fathers, either individually or together with small children. And now what's been happening in the recent months in particular, according to the authorities, is there's been an influx of single men. And a lot of these men are young. They're between 18 and in their early 20s. Some of them are teenagers who are coming here with their mothers. And what we've seen, the video that you just saw was a migrant crime wave where there were at least 62 separate...
Okay, I got to get past this. I'm feeling like a Caitlyn moment. Let me get straight to what I need to deal with right here.
Shoplifting suspects in some of the stores, because one of the shelters that's been extremely problematic is located right near Times Square. So there's a lot of stores. You have a lot of tourists walking around carrying cash with valuables, with good watches, with expensive purses, expensive sneakers, that type of thing. And then the other area that's been developing with crime is at one of the biggest shelters, which is on Randall's Island in the city. It's a men's shelter, and where they officers have been called in to try to break up fights, and then they end up turning, because there's so many of them, they end up turning on the police officers and attacking them. And so the NYPD
may turn on the police officers and begin to attack them. So what are we dealing with? We have laws that have been made in these same cities that allow a certain level of criminality by stating that someone can snatch and grab, merchandise up into a certain amount without getting persecuted. They started off with that before they were actually letting us know that there's a migrant issue going on. Not a migrant, but an illegal issue. So now people are just snatching and grabbing, right? Now, they're told these illegals now that, okay, in certain places, you can actually snatch and grab up to $1,000 or $1,500 without getting prosecuted. So now this is going to be happening in Chicago, New York, all of these other areas. And then it's going to translate to where? It's going to transfer, to the communities and claim that it's our people snatching and grabbing. And then it's going to give the government full authority to come in to create order. And this is what the plans are, folks. One side allow it to happen, and then all of us are going to get behind what? The president or the elected official who's seeking to make the solution when it shouldn't have been a problem in the first place. See, it's both sides doing this, Democrat and Republican. But you cause an issue so that everybody can, at one time, right, Biden. Oh, man, Trump is a racist. Come on, man. George Floyd. Man, we got to get Trump out of there. Remember that? That's how they play with your minds. Only to swing you the other way, to cause people to disturb our communities, only to the degree where, man, we were better off with Trump. At least Trump going to get them out of here, right? As if we don't remember thinking the exact same opposite 4 years ago. They are playing with our people's minds. And either side you agree to, it's our people coming up missing and getting the short end of the stick, whether it be Democrat or Republican. Think about that. Because it doesn't benefit us, Trump coming in with police and armed forces and the military to come in to fix the migrant crisis that shouldn't have happened in the first place. That doesn't benefit us. See that? So this is how they destroy our people, through proxy. All the time stringing us along to have us believe they're for us. Right? Creating a crisis only so they can come with the solution, the Hegelian dialectic. When Trump, nobody here, nobody needs you to come clean up the migrant crisis, right? Our people should be, you give us the money you give in Israel and the Ukrainians, and we'll have enough money to defend our own selves against the crisis you created. Okay? We don't want you to create a problem only to come in to strong arm our children now. Right? Because when they vote on the floor, there's Democrats and Republicans there. So when they allowed the crisis to happen with the migrants, it was Democrats and Republicans who agreed with that. So what I'm trying to show, brothers and sisters, is that the only one who got our back is God. God has our back. We don't need these guys to come in and try to bring a solution when they created the issue. The only way that Trump can fix things is he give cash reparations to the descendants of slaves. And if our people have our money, we can protect ourselves. Take your education, take your reproductive health care, take the money that you can give the HBCUs, which are bootlicks, take all of that and just give our people the money that you give in Israel. We can pay for our own education, we can feed ourselves, we can house ourselves, and we can protect ourselves from the legislation you're drafting against us. And that be it Democrat or Republican. And guess what? This is where I get off my soapbox. All right? This is where I get off of my soapbox, because my whole thing is I bring resolve. I bring it the way it need to be seen. How do you know when a country or a politician is actually for its constituency? You know how? Because they come every 4 years to protect their budgets. Budgets is financial allocation. Politics is about money. The Asian delegation only come there, and the caucus is to draft what? Policy that financially benefits their people. How much of the budget is going towards the Asian community? That's how politics work. It's about budgets. Italians get in place so that they can make sure the money coming through that's being agreed upon every election year goes towards their caucus, their people, their interests. That's how politics work. Okay. Some reason they convinced us that politics was them actually patting us on the head and apologizing for slavery without giving us no money, without giving our people who are suffering finances. When you're giving Asians money, Ukrainians money, Jewish people money, Palestinians money. So folks, when it comes to voting, if you're going to deal with the process, because why? It's your taxpayer money going towards all of this. Why can't they cut out money strictly for you? And that's how you know whether or not a politician is against you or for you. That's how. You don't want people sympathizing with you. I don't need your sympathy. I don't need you to protect us from the police. I don't need none of that. Israel is not looking, the state of Israel is not looking for Americans and others to protect them from police, because why? You got it. The billions of dollars that are funded towards Israel. They got enough money for their own military to protect themselves. So this is how our people have to become politically astute and understand that when you vote, if you're going to vote, it's supposed to be for your self-interest and the interest for your particular people. Okay? It's no black or brown coalition. You can't tell me that the money for our people who marched in civil rights is for black and brown people when Kamala Harris isn't our people. Okay? The East Indians, those people didn't struggle in the civil rights. The Asian people that are coming over here who are brown didn't struggle in the civil rights. So you can't now clump us all together so that they can strong arm what belongs to our people. No more getting triggered based on race and vote because someone is making you feel a certain type of way. Hey, I don't care if you are a card carrying KKK member who sleep with your hood on. Okay? If you agree with cash reparations for the descendants of slaves, Judah, I don't care whether or not you are a KK. You can hate my guts, but I'll have enough to protect myself from you if you give me what you give Israel. And that's the mentality our people have to now stand on. Don't try to trigger me emotionally. I don't care. You all are racist. But that racism didn't stop you from supporting Israel and the Ukrainians and their migrants. I know y'all don't care about the migrants that are coming in here. Y'all are racist against them too. But you're going to use them against us and then use their criminality as a reason to wipe them out anyway. Right? So even though you hate some of these brown people you bringing over, they're useful for the moment. That's why you're pushing cash into them. See? So again, our people got to stop getting triggered through racism and say, well, listen, when it's voting, it's about budgets. This is why they come out every 4 years to ask for your vote and beg for your vote as if they're concerned about you. They aren't concerned about you. They're concerned about if someone else get into office, the special interest groups are going to move the money off of them and give it to a politician who's now in position to make laws for the next 4 years. They're looking to sustain the relationships with the lobbyists who are paying them. That's why they come out. And then once you get them in the office, they could care less about you because now it's payday for the next 4 years for them. And this is why people who are politically savvy, like the Asians, like the other people who are coming over here, they let them know, if you don't, guess what, even the Palestinians that come over here, if you don't cut out money towards us and for our people, we're getting you out of office. It's about the budget. It's about money for politicians. They could care less about you. Democrats have been the enemy of our people since America's inception. Do your history. And they're doing a great job because look at all the Democrat-ran cities and you'll understand the plan they had for us the whole time. Huh? Like I said, our people have to stop making decisions strictly off of emotions, being triggered. Okay? I don't want to hear about a cop that shot someone. I don't want to hear none of that crap. We're not buying none of that. Okay? Look right at him and say, hey, man, let's go down and march, man. George Floyd again. Nah, where's the money? Okay? Because I understand that they sympathize and understood Israel's plight when it comes to World War I and World War II, even though other people died in the war outside of them too. But I can understand how the world sympathized with them by giving them money every year. Okay? That's how you show whether or not you care about what's going on with us. Not an incident you can, use politically to gain political position. Right? So that's what I'm saying. And that's for those who believe in this system. All in all, I'm going to say this. I don't expect anything from any of them because it's God's promise to make our lives better. It's God's promise that we stand in God's law with the right expectations to operate one amongst another. Not that I expect anything from them. What I'm doing, I'm putting this out there so that our people can have a view to understand the hypocrisy of the political system. That's why I put it out there. Not that they would ever do what's right. I'm putting it out there so our people can now view things politically as other people do, to know that this system have never been for the children of Israel. So that now you have a reason to say, no, get out of my face. If you don't give me what you've given them, and I know you won't, don't knock on my door. Period. So I'm not saying this, folks, to say that we're waiting for either side to give us this. I just want to show our people that they would never do for us like they do for other people. And through that, our people will begin to understand who we are and that we are all we have, and that the only way we get anything out of this is to come back to God's law. Right? So that's why I'm putting it out there. So if somebody do come to you, you can point out their hypocrisy. Because now you're holding them to something. You're holding them to something now. Because they're coming as if they really care about you. But when you say, okay, hook me up like you hooked up the Asians, you'll realize how much they truly don't care about you. When you say hook me up like you hook up the Israelis and this state has nothing to do with our people, you'll see that they really don't care about you, as they claim when they bring up racism. Right? So then it leaves us with really no option. And you know what? When I say no option, and hoping and having hope in a political system that was set up to keep us at the bottom of their pyramid. Right? Now the hope we have is in our God and each other. That's the hope. At the end of the day, we'll realize we've been bamboozled from either side. Okay? So I'm not one of these guys who's saying, well, okay, let's go Trump now. If anyone thought that. Hades to the no, because he's going to play off of us the same way the other side played off of us. Okay? When he come out and say, here's your check for slavery in the trillions for our people, then we're going to look at him and say, well, okay, he's willing to break the system for what's right. But until then, they can all kick rocks. Okay? All right. So, brothers and sisters, I'm saying this to say protect yourself. Please protect yourself. All right? They're going to cut these migrants and these illegal and these criminals loose in our society. Right? They're going to cause chaos in our communities. Please protect your children and have your children aware of what's going on outside when your child go out this summer, this spring to play. And understand that these people are in our communities to instigate provocations. Already in New York, they have actually began, a sister was actually unalived the other day by one of these migrants in New York, allegedly. So it's already cooking up right now to where the threat, these mercenaries will be picking off our people in the communities, right? And it's going to spill over through arguments. It's going to spill over on the basketball courts. When we go out to actually have our festivals and all these things and we come together to celebrate our culture amongst one another, they'll be in the mix causing provocation. I'm telling you right now. So it's time for us to have a conversation to say, well, okay, with my children, I have to make sure that when it comes to these people that are being left over, that this doesn't threaten my family to a degree where we begin to lose people in our homes. Okay? This is where I'm going to tell you, it's going to boil over this summer. I'm telling you. So I'm just letting you all know that when you have your children go outside and play in all this after being cooped up in the house all winter, you're not releasing them into a regular society we're used to. Protect your children. There's people that are coming over the border. They're strictly here and are protected. They're strictly here to provoke trouble in the neighborhoods. And once they stir up something on this side and somebody die, they'll run into another asylum city and do the same thing. So keep your head on the swivel. And brothers and sisters, stay prayed up, sin not, protect your children. It's the Democrats and Republicans that are behind these mercenaries that they've actually incentivized to come into our neighborhoods to start issues. Okay? I just wanted to put that out there. It's engineered, just like the title states, engineered chaos. Vote for Christ. I'll see you over on Patreon, where we'll be going into the flu, engineered chaos. Shalom, and may the Most High be with you. And I'll see y'all this Sunday in our lesson, The Four Beasts of Daniel, breaking down what? End time prophecy from the book of Daniel. Shalom, may the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up, sin not, and keep in mind that the Most High is calling back the lost sheep of Israel. We're the children of Israel, and we're back. Shalom. Oh yeah, another thing I want to say, right, before I go. You have some people out there who would like to get their own websites and all these others and are trying to teach looking like us before the people. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. Do I feel there's any threat or anything wrong? Am I afraid that of something going on with somebody may come out and teach something and all that? No. What I'm talking about is people who follow our church and behind our backs are sending email to other people to try to cause division, looking like us with white on. Folks, you can tell them if they're doing this that they can kick rocks too. Okay? Because you have to be honest. Okay? If you believe what you're doing is true, then you go out and do it and get it from the mud and work from the beginning like any church that have been established in the work of the Almighty. You don't go behind a work already to try to divide. That isn't Christ. And if you operate like that, it's going to come to nothing anyway. I've never seen it happen the way people are doing this, trying to go behind and try to get members and siphon members. I've never seen any people who have done that succeeded. Not once. Because it's dishonest. Is Christ divided? And I'm not saying that you have to be with us. That's fine. Right? But I would be a snake in the grass if I was to go look online and go to Instagram and see people that are following IUIC or following UPK and begin to send messages to their members to say, hey, I'm doing something over here too. Would you like to come into this class? That's dishonest and that is divisive. And it doesn't matter if I agree with their doctrine. I have enough respect for them not to disrespect them like that. Okay? Not to disrespect them. Because they're working grassroots. And those, guess what? People cleave to their own kind. The people that are with UPK belong with UPK. The people with IUIC belong with IUIC. And I'd rather them be guided, even if I don't agree with those doctrines, not being tossed all over the place. Because at least they're unified under one mind and one doctrine. And I'm not going to try to undermine that by going behind them and looking and then put on a purple shirt and then begin to send emails and say, yeah, I got purple on too. That's serpentine. You'll never advance like that. Okay? Where's the honor? And this is why our people never move to the heights of what's in us, which is the glory of the Almighty, because we always seem to undermine each other instead of saying, you know what? I'm going to go grassroots. I don't believe what anyone else believes, but the Most High is with me, and I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to start from the beginning, do my ministry, and then let the Most High bring the work if he's in it. He'll bless it. And that's what a lot of our brothers and sisters have lost, to why we cannot obtain the true glory of being Israel. And you know what that is? Honor. Honor. You don't go behind another work. And guess what? You think, let me tell you, the people in this church, that's within this church, they're tight. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to see you send them something, and they're not going to let us know that, listen, you know there's some guys out there with some white shirts on and you know, trying to circumvent the work and divide the work. See? So think about that when you're out there dividing people. They're going to look at you and say, okay, here's a dishonest person. Do your work. And if Christ is in your work, you don't have to worry about sneaking around 12 midnight trying to get followers. Okay? If Christ is in your work, guess what? He'll bring it to where it needs to be. Okay? There's a such thing as honor. Okay? There's a such thing as respect and honor. This is why we don't go behind other people to try to siphon people off of them, because it's wrong. Okay? Learn honor and respect. Brothers and sisters, we'll see you in a couple of minutes on Patreon. The Flu, Engineered Chaos. Shalom.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulun from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering is Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us at gunpoint. Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A high gatherer Asher in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans, a high gathering Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, a highest gathering in Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be, Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, Naphtali from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulun from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering is